Hey everybody, I have just landed at Village Theater again. I am coming to a costume measurement session for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, a show that I am understudying for at Village Theater in Issaquah, Washington. So I thought it would be a good time to talk about costume fittings and costume measurements, and I will talk more after the bump. Hi there, I'm Doug Fahl, your augmented actor, helping you augment your acting career with tips, tactics, and tech. Remember, if you're an actor, hit subscribe for more content like this. So I'm getting my measurements done today. Perhaps you're a new actor out there or a seasoned actor. At some point in your acting career, you're going to have to get your measurements taken because costumes are an integral part of theater and film and television and all that stuff. You won't escape it. Get your measurements done often, maybe once a year or so, or anytime you lose weight, gain weight, or change your shape in any way. Now, if a theater or a film project will do your measurements for you, great, go do it and ask them to send you a copy. And that way, if you have a project coming up after that, you can use that copy and just send it to the new project. When you get your measurements, you want to make sure that you've showered and you're wearing form-fitting clothes because you want them to be as tight as possible on your body so that they can take accurate measurements without a bunch of fabric in the way. Now, when you do the measurement session, there's usually going to be one or two people there. If there's two people, one person will be doing the measuring while the other person is calling it out. Generally, it's not a very invasive procedure, and they're very professional about how they go about it. You're not going to need to get undressed or anything like that to take measurements. They're just going to they might tie a little rope around your belly button area, around your waist, so that they can measure from that rope line to the floor, to your shoulders, etc. Your job is to just sit there and let them take the measurements. Help them out when they ask you to, and it's a painless procedure. Sometimes when you go to get measurements, they will just do some basic measurements. They might take your shirt size, your sleeve size, your inseam, waist, and shoe size, perhaps, maybe your neck. Those are the essential measurements that everyone should know off the top of their head. But then there's other measurements like glove size, ring size. When I just had my measurements done just now, they took about 40 different measurements, over the shoulder, under the bicep, the elbow, the neck, front and back, to the collarbone, the center here, diagonal down this way, straight down this way, to the hip, to the floor. There's a lot of measurements that can be taken. And the more measurements that are taken, the better fitting your costumes are going to be, because they have every conceivable configuration of measurement available to them. I've done a couple videos on costume design using virtual reality, and I did a video on what never to do with costume designers. You can check those out in the links down below or perhaps on your screen. Now let's talk about costume fittings. What do you do when you come to a costume fitting? Just wear clean undergarments, like I said before. Make sure you're showered, and make sure you have deodorant on. Do not wear a lot of heavy makeup. Do not wear a lot of heavy hair product. Do not wear fragrances of any kind so that you're not dirtying or soiling the costume in any way. You're gonna expect to just be a mannequin for an hour, half an hour, 2 hours, whatever the session may entail. It is important for you to try on all the pieces and put them on as instructed, and then not to have an opinion about your costume. That's the most important thing as an actor. Don't have an opinion about your costumes. Allow the costume designer to put the costume on you and see whether their vision is fitting your body, and let them make the adjustments that they need to make. It is okay to point out dangers to the costume, sharp things that are jabbing you in the side, areas that might rip if you bend over or move in a certain way. You're looking for things that are just a little too tight or a little too loose that need to be tightened up, and make sure you point those things out when you are doing your fitting. But you want to keep your opinions about the style or the design of the costume. If you feel like what the costume designer is giving you does not gel with the character that you're creating in rehearsals, you want to address that privately with the director after the fitting and let them hash that out. But whatever ultimately the costume designer settles and gives you, that is what the team has signed off on, and you need to just sort of let that inform what your character does going forward. If your costume feels constrictive, you can use that as your as a character device if you so choose. Sometimes that can just add a layer of character onto your performance that you hadn't really thought of before. So embrace the costumes, embrace the set design, embrace the elements that are brought in. You don't get to decide how you're lit. You don't get to decide which shots are used in the final edit. So you don't get to decide what you're wearing as a character either. Even if you get to bring your own costume pieces in, you're going to bring in different choices, and a director or costume designer is going to select which choices are most appropriate, and then those are your costume. Remember, when you're at a fitting and even beyond a fitting into the show, do not eat in your costume, do not drink in your costume. If you have to eat or drink while you're wearing your costume, make sure you put a robe on or a towel. Protect the costume at all costs. Always be cleanly showered and use good hygiene, and never go commando. Always wear undergarments because you want to protect the costumes from having soils and stains and smells. And when you have a costume fitting, just expect that the first couple fittings, things are not going to be quite right. You might go into a panic feeling like, I'm not going to be able to make this quick change. This is not going to work when I'm dancing. It's too slippery. It's too whatever. It doesn't fit. It's going to rip. All those things will get fixed. 9 times out of 10, those things are going to be addressed. Just have patience and understand that it's a process, just like rehearsal. They don't come in and expect you to change your performance. They don't come in and expect you to be completely ready to perform on day 1 of rehearsal. So don't expect the costumes to be completely finished in your first fitting or 2. Ultimately, as you get closer to the show and closer to opening night, if there's still issues that are not addressed with your costume, just remind the costume designer or the director. Let them know that, it's still a concern for you. And they usually get it fixed. They got a lot on their plates. These costume shops and costume designers have often hundreds of costumes. Sometimes they're building elaborate pieces. So if you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt in a show and somebody else has like a $40 million dress, that's going to be the primary concern, is the dress. And so they're going to save your t-shirts and jeans for the last minute. So just have patience and just understand that it's their vision on the line just as much as it is your vision. So let them solve their problems in their time. Have you ever had a costume malfunction, something that it ripped during a show, or a button that popped off? It made for a hilarious moment. Please tell me in the comments below, because I'd like to hear your funny stories. Check out some of the other videos. Make sure to remember to subscribe if you like this content, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye.